This video is brought to you by manscaped.com. Now, it's pretty mad to say we've got a sponsored video for the first time on the channel. It means we're doing something right, and I'm sure some of you are already aware, Manscaped is the only brand out there at the moment dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene. Now, they were very kind to send me a 3.0 kit from Manscaped, and I was very pleasantly surprised. So for all you blokes out there that could do with a similar thing, use the code on your screens right now for 20% off, free international shipping, 2 free gifts. So, I mean, all in all, it's a bit of a bargain. Don't miss out on that. And yeah, thank you Manscaped for the sponsored video. But without further ado, let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to a new league racing video on assettocorsacompetizione. And we're at Spa for a Actual Vision League race I did a few weeks back in the McLaren 720S GT3. And the format 15-minute quali, 1 hour 45-minute race. Whoa, so you can see we're setting up our second to last lap in quali. So getting a good run onto the start-finish straight, going into TC0 to get a really good exit. And our current PB at this point in the session was a 16.8. So going into T1, break at the 100 or just after, down to first, late apex, TC0 on the exit. Again, just to give you a little bit more grunt on the exit. You avoid the curb on the exit as well, but otherwise the TC does kick in and there's less grip. Going down to Eau Rouge, easy flat in this car with the setup I've got. And you can't really say that for all the cars. So showing again that the McLaren's really good in high-speed corners all the way down this long straight.
Should get one more after this.
I don't know why I'm still in TC0, but I do engage it into TC1 before the corner. And heading into Le Com, the chicane, down to second gear, use all the green on the right, and then kind of use the curb on the left to hook you round the corner. We don't do it too well there, up to third for the right. So it was neat. There was a bit more time on the left. I could have used more of the curb. Down to second for this right-hander. Really tricky because it's downhill. The braking is a bit sketchy. The ABS engages at a really weird point. Up to third for No Name. Late apex, use all the runoff on the exit. I think if you go beyond the curb, you get an invalidation, which we didn't do. Going into Pouon, a really, really cool corner. Tricky in a GT because it's nowhere near flat like in a Formula car. And we're TC0 on the exit just because the TC does engage a little bit. And we're 2 temps up, so we're on for a 16.6 here. So it's a solid lap so far. Into Piff Paff, and we have a good right and use the curb on the left just to kind of induce a bit of rotation into this next 90 right. And it's a really crucial corner this because you've got a massive straight after really, and there's a corner here but it's flat. TC0 again, just stopping the TC engaging that little bit, which can, you know, you're talking hundredths, but it all matters round a massive lap like Spa. It all adds up to a few tenths. And then going into Blanchimont, it is flat, just, but you have to nail the line, otherwise you do run wide and you get an invalidation. Going into the final chicane, so it's been a good lap, braking at the 100, down to first gear. We turn in probably a little bit earlier, we didn't want to miss the apex, so we lost a bit of time there. TC0 on the exit, the run towards the line, 16.6 or 16.71, the delta's a bit messed up. Going into the final lap in quali, braking it just after the 100, we brake really late on this lap. A late apex, a clean application of the throttle, TC0, and look at that, look at the delta on my dash. We're almost a tenth up going into Eau Rouge. So we're looking good. And then going up Eau Rouge, wait for it. Yeah,
What
look at my reaction. I'm bemused, I am bamboozled as to what's just happened. Going up Eau Rouge, I don't know what it was, but
Did you just see what happened there?
I've never had it before. I've never had that before. I did a lot of practice. Well, a lot of practice. I did a bit of practice for this race, and it didn't happen once. But the final lap in quali, it happened, and you can see there we're less than a tenth of a second off pole,
mate.
which was a 16.6. We were a tenth up going into Eau Rouge. We knew there was more time in the lap. You know, in the Le Com chicane, in the right, in Piff Paff. You know, there was time everywhere. And in the third lap of the run, the tyres were going to be in a better place. We were going to get lap time from that anyway. So really frustrating. A pole position there, pretty much guaranteed, that was thrown away. I didn't feel like I did anything wrong. It was just the car or the physics or whatever. The game screwed me there. And you can see me, I'm still angry about it now, but I was more angry in the moment. But anyway, that was qualifying. We do eventually drop down to 6th position on the grid, but let's cut to the race and see what happens. Race time then, so we're going down to turn 1, and in assettocorsacompetizione we know GT Racing starts their races at Spa on the run down to Eau Rouge, so it's a bit weird. I think it's a bit more dangerous, but that's just how they do it. So we don't argue with that, and we're keeping within the green confines of the start procedure overlay, which is in the center of your screens, and we're right at the front of it, so kind of maximising what we can or where we can be on the track. Then when it goes to this particular mode, we can go all the way into the red bit just to get a bit of a boost or an advantage before the green lights go out. The green lights do go out, going down into Eau Rouge, and you can see there we've got a car on our inside. We back out, which is not the clever thing to do, because then I lose all the momentum all the way up Eau Rouge, all the way down this straight, and we have no grunt at all because we lifted. We should have just kept it flat and run onto the runoff, but we're on the outside going into the Lacombe chicane, and we've lost already about 3 or 4 places. Going into Lacombe, we're holding it around the outside of the Ferrari. The Ferrari gets held up there by the Aston, and we can kind of make the move stick. It's a bit aggressive from the Ferrari because he does run me out, but hard but fair racing, close. Thank God for Helicorsa, otherwise we would have made contact. Going into this next right-hander, I do outbrake myself. There's no two ways about it, and I do make contact with the Aston Martin of Van Ommen, but luckily, and I'm not sure about him, but I didn't get any damage, and judging from Van Ommen's pace later on, I don't think he did either, so, or any considerable damage. It would have been a bit of bodywork, but yep, completely my fault. We lost out. We lost the position to the Ferrari, which, you know, fully deserved, and I got a bit excited there. There's no arguing that. Going into Piff Paff, still behind the Ferrari. I just need to calm down. It's a long race, 1 hour 45 minutes. I know it's not like a Le Mans 24 hour, but that is a really long race for one person to be doing the whole thing. So plenty of things can happen. We're only a matter of seconds off the lead, and you know, it's frustrating because I'm still in the zone in my head where I think I should have got pole, I should be out in the front running away, but it's racing. Sometimes stuff happens. So we're 9th position. It's not the end of the world, and we can make a pretty good comeback. So we need to focus and fix up in a matter of seconds. You haven't got time to think about that kind of stuff. You just need to forget it and look back at the mistakes after the race. So down the outside into the chicane of the Ferrari, round the outside. Happy with that move, actually. And we make it stick. So now we're focusing on Van Ommen. We're using TC0 at the start of the stint out of the slow corners because the tyres are pretty fresh. So we have the grip to do that. As the stint progresses, we can't do that so much because the tyres do degrade, especially the rears on the McLaren. They drop off quite a lot. So you have to know when to stop. Otherwise, you will spin, make a mistake, burn the rears up, and then you won't get them back. So it does give you a little bit of an advantage, though. A few hundredths down the straight, which is always handy. So chasing down Van Ommen, Jardier in the Merc, and the lead group. There's a lot of McLarens at the front, so the McLaren around Spa, definitely a strong car. Well, since when I did this race, it was. They have done an update recently, which may have changed that, I don't know. But the Ferrari as well, really strong round Spa. So Boothby got pole in the Ferrari. The Merc seemed to struggle. The Aston seemed decent, but I think the Merc and the Ferrari were the best cars in this particular race. There wasn't an Audi in this race, so I think the Audi was, or, you know, last time I checked, it was the best car around Spa. So we've closed up right onto the back of Van Ommen in the Aston and Jardier. So Jardier's kind of, he's the cork in the bottle at the moment. He's developing a bit of a train behind him. He's dropping off from Garcia in front of him. Not saying that's his fault. It's that Merc looked like a real handful for Jardier to control all season long. And the Merc before this season was a very, very good car. It just seemed to, maybe in one of the updates, it just got ruined. Down the inside of Van Ommen, going into Piff Paff, the right-hander. Just about make it stick, but we do outbrake ourselves a little bit, but we got the move done. Now Van Ommen's under threat from the Ferrari. I would try and pronounce his name, the guy in the Ferrari, but I don't want to get it wrong. So I'm just going to call him the Ferrari. Now we focus on Jardier. So the McLaren on the straights, it's average. It's not good, it's not bad. We're running pretty low wing. I think we're running 4 or 5 rear wing, I can't remember.
Aston's,
but you can see the
straights, but he's got a nice
the Aston, yeah, it kind of caught me out. I heard rumours that the Aston was a slow car on the straights, but it certainly wasn't in this race. Going into the final chicane then, we do outbrake ourselves quite a lot, almost tag the back of Jardier. And I think that there's nothing wrong with the car or the gain there. It was just me getting a bit punchy. And obviously we're on race fuel as well, so your braking distances come back a bit because it takes a little bit longer to stop the car with the extra weight. going into turn 1, we turn in a bit early just to cover off Van Om, but I don't think he's going to make a move, unless it's an obvious move. I don't think he wants to make a move. We don't want to lose touch with the leaders, and he's got the toe now, through Eau Rouge all the way down to the Lacombe chicane. I've lost touch with Jardier from that mistake, so not ideal, but I know we've got enough straight line speed. If we defend, we can hold him, and that's exactly what's about to happen. So you can see in front as well, the guys are fighting, which is good for us. Van Ommen goes to the outside towards Lacombe. Helicorsa again coming in clutch, so I can be really close and aggressive in terms of where I position the car. Bit of oversteer, but we just about hang on. And now we can use, because we were really strong in the second sector, we can use it now to pull away from Van Ommen and close down on the front guys, Jardier, Garcia and Noble. A couple of laps later then, we're behind Jardier. We've gapped Van Ommen a little bit, but we're on the attack. We're not defending too much anymore. Blanchemont and the final chicane coming up. We're not going to make a move into Blanchemont, so we're kind of teeing him up for a move, hopefully down the inside of the chicane, but he's a clever racer. He's not going to let me do that. He's going to defend on the inside. I go down the outside, trying to outbrake him like I did with the Ferrari. And you can see he holds it, unlike the Ferrari, he holds it around the outside of the left and maintains the position. I've got to now defend from Van Ommen, but still trying to attack Jardier in front. And it's a bit of a tricky situation, but that is close GT racing for you. Jardier slightly outbrakes himself going down into turn 1. We try and go down the inside. He gets a good exit, and Van Ommen is still behind us. So we're in the slipstream now, going down into Eau Rouge. I'm trying to hold back a little bit like Hamilton and Vettel a few years ago in F1. Don't want to, be right on his bumper going up Eau Rouge, because then I won't have a slingshot down the straight, which I do now because I did hold back a little bit. So I'm going down the outside. You can see my reaction there to the rubber banding, which can be quite bad in ACC from time to time. And then Van Ommen's going down the inside of Jardier, so we're 3 wide going down into Lacombe. I outbrake the pair of them. I'm going to make the corner. Van Ommen must have outbroke himself and hits me. I go through the chicane. I've got light damage on the front. A warning. But, it wasn't my fault I didn't make the chicane. It was as a result of contact from another car. So I didn't feel the need to give the position back. I got a warning for it, and I've got damage from it. So, I've paid the price. It wasn't my fault. I can now crack on with catching the leaders. And you can see my reaction there. I wasn't very happy, but that's racing in the heat at the moment. We've all been there. You're not going to be, oh, he hit me. Oh, well, let's move on. We do sometimes get angry, but at least I'm P6. Now I can hunt down the top 5, because they're kind of battling as well. So, and I'm sure Van Ommen's got the pace to follow me to that particular group of cars as well. So, yeah, the title of the video is Gambling, and you're probably wondering why, and we will see later in the race why that is, and whether the gamble pays off or not. But for the minute, we just need to focus on catching the guys in front and get our head down. And so with an hour and 13 minutes to go, you can see we made quite a few inroads into the pack in front. And Murphy unfortunately had a little bit of an incident and dropped behind us, but he's still only 4 seconds back. So we're a matter of a second behind the car in front now, and we were 3 or 4 seconds. So we just chipped away. They kept on battling in front, and we were consistent. We pulled a little bit of a gap over Van Ommen as well. Going into the final chicane though, Noble makes a move on Boothby. There you go, spinning round. And Boothby tries to rejoin, just avoids us. Frank is in the mix as well with Garcia in the other McLarens, and yeah, we got lucky there, but we've actually come out damage free and in 4th. So Boothby in the Ferrari, who looked rapid, has he's dropped well back. So and probably got damage. Noble probably has damage as well. And going down into Eau Rouge, then we're battling for the lead with the 3 cars ahead. And yeah, very unexpected. We've gone from 9th or 10th from a really bad start to battling for the lead within half an hour. So that's just consistency, making fairly aggressive moves, but trying to be risk-free if possible. We've had a bit of damage, but as I say, it's not really affecting us too much. Noble's making a move on Franca, going down into Lacombe. Garcia's kind of just waiting there in the mix. Van Ommen's caught up to the back of us now, so we've got to start thinking about defending whilst attacking again, which is a hard skill to do, but if you can multitask, it shouldn't be an issue. Going down into the next right-hander. So now I'm in the pack, I'm already thinking about strategy, it's all well and good thinking and trying to be the hero, passing the cars ahead and running away into the lead, but thinking smart and or thinking hard and thinking smart, what's the saying? I've really messed that up. working hard or working smart are two very different things. We got there in the end, but I did manage to say it. And instead of, risking everything and trying to get past everyone, you could just overtake them on strategy. So I'm thinking, if I fuel the car to the brim, to the end of the race, and change the tyres, obviously in a long race like this, you do want to change the tyres because you gain back what you lose in the pit stop just from better pace in the second stint. So if I do box now and rejoin in clear air, there's no doubt about it, I'm going to undercut them. I've got the pace, I'll have a bit of damage, but I've got the pace, in clear air while they're battling. Although they've got the slipstream, they're losing so much time in the corners. I could make the difference, and when they box, come out in the lead with a fairly healthy gap, and then run away towards the end of the race and win the race. So, yeah, with 24 litres left in the tank, I haven't got a spotter, so I box immediately. I take the risk. If I had a spotter, it wouldn't be a risk because we would have calculated it beforehand, and I wouldn't have boxed if I knew I wasn't going to have enough fuel to the end. So
I'm in the box.
I was aware, or I thought at least, with the McLaren on this game, you could fuel it all the way to 125 litres. That was the max capacity of the fuel tank. But when I'm in the pits, you can see on the MFD, and I didn't look beforehand, which is a bit of a mistake, but it was such an obscure thing. It says that the fuel tank limit is 110 litres, which is 15 litres less than what I thought it was, which is a lot. It's like 3 or 4 laps, and I do kind of register in my head at this point that may have been a mistake. That looks pretty tight, and I'm not too happy, but I've committed now. I'm going to box, and I remember with the chat, I was in my Twitch chat because it was a live stream. I was debating throughout the whole second stint. Should I fuel save, or should I just crack on and risk it and see if I win the race? Because if I fuel save, it wouldn't have gone well. I would have finished probably 5th, 6th,
Chat,
which is okay.
Done
but
it too early.
I knew I wasn't going to do any more races in this championship, so I basically went cash or bust. Let's go for the victory, and if we run out of fuel, we run out of fuel.
I don't know.
At least we come out of it with a moral victory.
Up,
we were convinced we would have won.
I don't care.
If we had the fuel.
Because we'll try something different.
So it turns out, just so you all are aware, that on Paul Ricard, the McLaren's fuel tank is limited to 100. I think it's all cars, actually, not just the McLaren. The fuel tanks in the races are limited to 116 litres, and then at Spa, it's 110 litres. So I don't know why that is, because at every other track, you can basically fuel the cars to their maximum capacity, or the fuel tank. But at Spa and Paul Ricard, it's different. There's limitations on that, and maybe that's something to do with the real life counterpart. I don't know.
Right.
So we rejoin, and there's no other words for it really. We've got a clear track in front of us. You can see from the track map the next cars ahead of us are leaving Pouon, so we've got a good 30 seconds of clear air. So we just need to do clean, fast laps. We've got a new set of tyres on there. Make the most of them, and look to rejoin in the lead. And then as we skip to just under 55 minutes of the race remaining, we're going down towards Eau Rouge. We're still in clear air, 15th on the overlay in terms of where we are position-wise. You can see some cars going up Eau Rouge there, leaving the pits. We pass a few cars in the pit lane. You can see on the Helicorsa on the right-hand side.
Right,
there he is. Franca is just rejoining. And look how close it is. I mean, to be honest, this kind of took me by shock. I thought I'd have a bit of a bigger gap to Franca, who was the net leader, but now we are, as we pass him, and we do take the net lead. Obviously there's still cars yet to box, so we're still 10th on the track, but yeah, he must have just cleared the guys behind him and got some really clean laps in, because I felt like I'd nailed the laps I had after I'd left my pit stop, but fair play, he had really strong pace, and yeah, just got the lead, and we know now that we're going to jump, Noble, Garcia. Obviously, we already in front of Van Orman, Murphy and Boothby, but we need to get our head down. And I think I went for the approach after reading Twitch chat. Some of the guys in Twitch chat were like, just save fuel, go into map 6 or map 4 or whatever the engine saving mode was.
Yeah,
but we were like, nah,
sure.
we're going to send it, see what happens. If we run out of fuel, we run out of fuel, and we'll do it with dignity. And so, to be honest, for the next 20 minutes, it was pretty plain sailing. He wasn't really putting on too much pressure, but he's still within a second, and we make a mistake going into Pouon. We run slightly offline. The marbles do make you lose grip. He's right on the back of us now, going towards Piff Path. We've got the inside line, fortunately, so he's not really, unless I make a mistake, he's not really going to make a move. We do go quite deep, but the car grips up mid-corner. We managed to hold that position. So, to be honest, you can see we're just losing a bit of rear grip now, and his tyres will be slightly fresher than mine. But you look at the fuel, and it's looking pretty tight. So, 37 minutes remaining, 14 laps left of fuel. It's around, you know, a 2 minute, 15, 16 minute lap. If you work it out in your head, that doesn't really work. So at this point, the closer it got to 0 on the fuel, I was going, I'm not going to make it. And it's too late now to start fuel saving. So I don't know why I kept on going, really. I just wanted to run out of fuel in the lead and just do it, as I said earlier, with dignity. But for the second stint, that was as much pressure as Franco was able to put on. Maybe he knew I was going to run out of fuel. I mean, I don't know how he'd know that, but maybe I just had really good pace. And eventually, as the stint progresses, we do end up pulling away. And when we run out of fuel, not if, when we run out of fuel, we do have a pretty healthy margin behind us. You know, a 2 or 3 second gap. And then Noble is quick in the Lambo. He's catching me and Franca. But, you know, with the right amount of fuel in the car, and all I needed was an extra 15 litres, it would have definitely been enough to win the race. But anyway, let's cut to the bit where I run out of fuel and see how many minutes were left of the race. With 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, then you can see we're going into the final chicane. We've got half a litre of fuel left, and I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are at fuel saving, you're not going to make the end of the race with that kind of fuel. So look at me, I look really sad, and it was sad. Like, I know it's only a league race, but we put a lot of effort into it, and we should have had pole. We were denied pole from a ridiculous thing up Eau Rouge, a little bug, and we got into the lead with 4 minutes remaining. We wouldn't even, as I said earlier, 15 litres, yes, we would have made it to the end, but we wouldn't even need 15 litres. We probably need about 8 litres. And if the game allowed me to fill the car to the brim, and the fuel tank on the McLaren is 125 litres, as I thought it would, we would have made it to the end and won the race. And there you go. That is the sad and tragic ending to what was a very good race until that point. So I'm sad, but, you know, it's only a league race. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it, but you can clearly hear from my voice I'm still a bit salty about it. But yeah, that is what happened. I'm sorry to you lot I didn't win. I took a gamble. It didn't pay off, but I think sometimes in racing it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. So, you know, you can't always have it go your way. But I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you did, please leave a thumbs up and sub away to the channel for more IRL, ACC, AC content, all that good stuff. But enjoy the rest of your days, and until the next video, I'll see you soon.